That's my Trump dance. He does. Well, while like Macho Man plays or something.
Yeah. Talk about spooky.
Yeah.
After Halloween's election season.
Yeah. Like the
real
next
terror
week
begins.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine a debate there's in costume?
Like
moderated by like Art the Clown. He doesn't speak. He just makes
honks.
different. Yeah, he just goes like,
yeah.
yeah.
And then in character he can just
Chainsaw someone.
chop off all their limbs, and that'd be the best ending.
In the movie in
Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah, in the Minecraft movie.
Oh yeah, you can double
Now
up.
that's scary.
Yeah.
So I know you guys aren't big sports guys, but did you see the Lions versus Cowboys game?
I was at my parents' place yesterday, and we were like doing pumpkins. That's like our annual tradition. And my dad's a big Lions guy, has been forever. And so the game was on, and kind of like how I felt last year when like they were this close to going to the Super Bowl, like where I watched that game and I was like invested in it. Watching them take the Dallas Cowboys to school was like, I have, maybe it's because it's like in my blood. I've never been interested in sports, but I think, with the right stimuli, I can just be like transfixed on the TV. But like I saw some of that game and it was wild, because usually the Lions are like, if they win, it's like a fluke or they just squeak by, or it's like a technicality. Very rarely are they like super dominant in that way. And some of the plays that they were doing were like out of this world.
Mm-hmm. But what was interesting is, one, it's a home game for Dallas, and two, it was their team owner's birthday. So he was there in the press box on his birthday watching his team get beat down. I was joking to Allie. I was like, man, this is the worst thing to happen to Dallas since JFK visited.
Yeah. They kept
Talked about
cutting.
a blowout.
Didn't he like just buy that team too? Like he's like,
I don't know.
it kept cutting to him sitting in the press box like this. It was so funny. Every time it was like 47-9 final score, which is like, again, insane for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, there was karmic retribution though that had to happen to the Lions winning, in the sense that one of the guys like broke his leg.
Yeah.
Oh, he that like broke his ankle, and it was doing one of those.
Something.
I think it was like
something
his actual
happened.
Leg, like tibia or fibia. But yeah, Aiden Hutchinson, one of he is our big like defensive guy. I think he leads the league in like sacks and all that.
Yeah, he's one of the big boys. I think that's like the technical term for that.
The big sack boys.
The big sack boys.
Here we go. Here's a big sack boy.
Oh no, he's gonna lift the tail up. Oh no.
He's still good.
He's like, yeah, whatever. Show him.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever. I show my ass to people every day. What's two more?
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to ThereWillBeDuds. This is episode 164. And I am your co-host, TJ. And with me, as always,
I am Nick. And joining us once again, our spooky correspondent, Chris. Welcome back.
Thank you. This will be my last episode because I have to move out of this apartment now.
And well, as always, we watched a movie. This was my second pick. It's nice that we get to finally do a movie that I bring in for the show. And the movie that we did is World Apartment Horror from 1991, directed by Katsuhiro Otomo. It is about a Yakuza enforcer named Ita, who is tasked with evicting the tenants of a kind of ramshackle apartment building because the Yakuza want to turn it into something. I forget if they specify, but something for gangster stuff. I don't know. Something they want
a gambling hall, a casino, or some sort of
something
operation for them to do organized crime.
Yeah. But when he's there, he runs into issues with a language barrier with a lot of the tenants, as well as a ghost that is also a tenant, I guess. And yeah, it's a very obscure little oddity. It's so obscure that it's the only fucking way to watch it is a really shitty rip to YouTube or like Internet Archive, with like the old like hard coded subtitles that you sometimes. I don't know if maybe the video transfer like on YouTube was like zoomed in or something, but sometimes the subtitles are like cut off or like they're just in like Japanese.
Well, I think that was when like the Koreans were talking, so it would make sense to have Japanese subtitles for that. But also, I watched it on YouTube, but I was watching it from a channel that had like 6 subscribers, and the video had like 12 views. Yeah. So I was like, I'm watching this. Like, I'm not sure if I'm watching the same version they are.
No, that was the one that I watched. I specifically remember the channel having 6 subscribers. So
okay.
Yeah, they're about to get the duds bump.
Yeah.
As in maybe like 5 people will go watch it.
I mean, hey, just by us watching it for the show, that's like, a significant percentage bump. So
well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There is so little information about this movie online that I think just having the episode title say World Apartment Horror like in our episode, we are going to like glom onto that SEO and we're going to get a little bit of it, whatever tiny minute amount it is. We're going to be getting our cut. We're kind of like the Yakuza in that way.
Yeah, coming in the slide. It's weird how unknown this is, because this is not only Katsuhiro Otomo coming off of, well, I guess I should say mostly, like at the time of release, these other two I don't think had quite made their names yet, but like Katsuhiro Otomo coming hot off of Akira. This is like maybe his next movie that he made after Akira. But then I mentioned Satoshi Kon, who later became a really like prominent name in anime with like Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress,
one of the
Paprika.
Kon brothers.
Huh?
One of the Kon brothers.
Yeah. Nice.
The third one.
And then I found this out when I was looking at the Wikipedia page for it, that another like writer is Keiko Nobumoto, who is the writer for Cowboy Bebop. So that's like, you have like 3 like legendary like anime figures on this live action movie that nobody knows about. Really weird.
Yeah. I'm also on the Wikipedia page, and there's like nothing there other than like just a brief excerpt, and then the references takes up more space than the actual description.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think like obviously this is like from a pre-internet time, like internet as a commodity that like everybody has in their house. So it's like, I think, if this movie had come out now, it would have been like, oh my God, these guys are doing a collab. It's, so-and-so X, so-and-so X, so-and-so. Like it would have been like, but it's like people probably knew Akira back then and like, yeah, this is really cool. But it's not like now where you would like, okay, I'm going to follow this artist and like wait for their next drop. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's really unfortunate that a lot of people don't know about this movie, because it is a neat little movie, and this is like, it is perfect material for like some sort of boutique Blu-ray company to scoop it up.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
There's gotta be like a master transfer of it somewhere in high def, because like watching it the whole time, I sent this in the group chat the other day, but I'm just like, this would be so cool if I wasn't watching it at 480p.
Yeah. I actually ended up watching it again on my phone because of like how bad it was on my TV. So I watched it twice. The second time I did watch it at 2x speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same thought. I was just like, there were so many times I was like, God, I wish there was a better, like, I wish I could fucking see stuff. I wish, like, I don't know, I wish I could read all the I mean, you could read all the subtitles that were, like, intended. I
right.
think, but there were some times, I guess, where I wondered if it was, I can't think of, like, any lines in particular, but some of the, like, the translation seemed weird, like, as can happen with some translations. Like, they weren't, it was just like,
I don't know. I was thinking that might be kind of intentional because the whole point is like everyone there speaks only a little bit of Japanese for the most part.
Yeah, I'm not counting
so
that.
So even the subtitles maybe are kind of goofing on that.
Yeah, I wasn't. I assumed that was the case when it was the various like tenets or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it was like when it was talking to the Yakuza boss. I don't remember. It was just like here and there. It just like some phrasing seemed a little like clunky. But yeah, you're right. Like that's what I mean. Like now, like sure, when this came out, yeah, only one of those guys like had a name. But yeah, I feel like just now and like how the internet is, that like it's kind of surprising when there's things like this that haven't really like picked up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's under the radar behind a wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did this come onto your radar? Was it just because it was the guy who did Akira? Or
yeah, I believe so. Yeah. I probably was just like, because I've known about this for a long time, but it couldn't watch it anywhere until like fairly recently, I don't think. But it was always like, oh, that sounds so neat. Like it's got like an interesting premise, and like it's Katsuhiro Otomo right after Akira. So I think I just like looked at his filmography. And it piqued my interest because it was live action. And then also the poster, the one where it's like just his face and it's like red, it makes it look way more like metal than the movie actually is. It makes it look like it's going to be like really like
more horror than comedy.
Yeah. But it's really, there's very little horror. It's like there's a ghost and it's like, you know, kind of possesses him, but then they're just like, can you please leave him? Like, okay.
Yeah, the ghost, it's like it's more referenced than anything else, which I think was kind of I don't know. I wish there was more like haunting stuff. I think maybe it was a little uneven, but the comedy that was involved was pretty great. I love that all of the tenants are like all from different backgrounds and cultures. So like there's the whole language barrier is great. Where like he's so mad, he's constantly yelling at them, and they just don't understand and like don't care. It's so great.
Yeah.
And like all of his various techniques to try to get them to move out. Like I was losing it when he's like the karaoke scene is great. He sets the boombox down. I love the
karaoke scene,
and he's like singing as loud as possible.
Yeah,
and like you see everyone just kind of like everyone down the hallway opens their door and like looks out at him, and you think they're gonna be like, can you turn that down? Like you're so loud, and then I feel like it's just like a cut, and then you see like the group of Korean guys like all huddled around the mic singing. And our main dude is just like ah, and I was just like he hates that they're having he hates that they're having fun. He hates it.
Just get the lights, machino pin boy. Aki mo sezu ni kasa sashikakeru wa. Yasashiku shinai de urimuitara.
Max Rebo band is what that made me think of. If you guys know, that's the Jabba's Palace band. I don't know.
Oh,
that was
okay.
the kind of music that reminded me of.
Ooh, tea, ha.
Yeah.
And then in that same vein where he sets off all like the bug bombs, drive them off, and they're all like, just like coughing, like, what's going on? He's like, oh, it's to get rid of pests. It seems to be working. And they're like, oh, okay, just them going right back in.
Yeah, that was so weird. Yeah, he's like, haha, looks like it worked. And they're like, okay.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like your sly metaphors are not the way to go, my friend.
Yeah. So this was a story by Satoshi Kon, who he said that he wasn't happy. I don't know. I don't think he expressed like that he hated it, but he was like disappointed in the end product of the movie because it didn't like go as big as he had wanted to. So he later wrote a manga for this, which is basically just like a one shot. So I ended up I googled like the manga just to see if I could find like information, like, you know, what's the difference between the movie and the manga or whatever. But somebody had like scanned the whole thing, so I read it. It's only like 130 pages, so it took me like a half an hour or something like that.
That's so interesting that the manga came second. Yeah,
right? Yeah, isn't it? And I will say it like it you know, most of it is like pretty like exact. There's like some dialogue changes. I'd say the biggest difference is that the girl that he like has sex with a few times, she's like a bigger character, and also she might be in this too, but she's like one of his like prostitutes. Is she that in this? I can't remember.
It seems implied.
I think it's kind of like assumed.
Okay.
Because every time you see her, she's wearing like
skirts
the tiniest skirt and like.
Hey, now that's how I dress. No, but yeah, like she's very like. It seems like.
She seems very like ditzy and airheaded and like.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if that was like the movie too. But she's also like a foreigner too. She's like a Filipino or Chinese or something like that. And there's like a part where because in the book there actually are a couple of the tenants who are like, this guy's an asshole and he's racist and stuff, and they're like, you know that he doesn't like you know that he doesn't like you because you're Asian, not Japanese. But then like you see like what he means with like how it didn't go as big as he wanted, but also like I don't think any movie could have done what he wanted to do in
any live action.
Right, in any live action, yeah, and that's why a lot of anime guys do anime, because their ideas are so like, you know, big, so
fantastical, grand. Yeah.
And it's namely like there's like 2 or 3 like dream sort of hallucination sequences that are very like what I was thinking of when I was thinking of like live action version. I was thinking of like the Doctor Strange movies. If I don't know if either of you guys have seen that, but like when he goes into like the mirror dimension, it's like all these like shapes and things kind of like folding in on themselves. It's like really like kaleidoscopic type stuff. Like they're telling the legend about this old like beast, which is like the painting on the wall that he sees. Yeah, like that.
Right.
Beast.
And you see that, and it's like got this weird like dragon face. Well, yeah, like the painting, and then at the end when the house in the book, the house actually like it gets destroyed at the end, like it collapses. But like as it is, and it's like creating this vortex. You see like the house like forms into the shape of the like dragon face thing or whatever.
Ooh, okay.
There's some really like trippy stuff in that. So I'm like, that would have been cool to see, but it doesn't matter who you hired in like the early 90s. Nobody's pulling that stuff off. Nobody's going to make that look how you want it to look.
Yeah. It makes me think of the end of Evil Dead 2 when they're like getting sucked out of the cabin, and it's like the giant tree that's like opening its mouth, and then it's like that portal. Yeah, I'm wondering like what the budget was for this movie, because it doesn't look shitty. Like it doesn't look that bad, but they probably didn't have enough to like really pull off like a big monster at the end, because again, it might be because it was like pixelated in 480p, but like the monster reveal, I was like, I bet this is more effective if I could clearly, because it was playing with like darkness and shadows, and it's like, it's that thing where it's like just barely visible and you're like, oh my God, I can see it. But at this point, I'm just like, this is all just squares. I can't tell what anything is. Same with the beginning when he's going to visit his brother in the apartment, and it's like very, very dark in there, and it's like candle lit, and he's either like, I can't tell if he's like praying or he's like waiting, or if it's like he's been driven insane by this thing.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I mean, that repeats with him where he thinks he's being visited by his brother, because everyone in the apartment's like, oh, he's going crazy just like his brother, but worse. Then you just see like another gunshot through the door, and they're not even phased.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's worse. He's racist too.
I think it's funny that even though he's being such an asshole to them, like in the movie, like they always just seem to give him the benefit of the doubt, and they're so cheery all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book at the end, it adds a bit of context to like what that guy was on too, because apparently like the sword that he's using and the little like medallion he has like on his forehead and that stuff, it's like, I guess those are these like old like pieces, like a sword used by some old like figure that was supposed to like in myth like have like fought some old god. I forgot if it was Amaterasu or some other one, but that's like, I guess also what the ghost monster thing is supposed to be. So he thought that like by getting that sword and that stuff, that's how you kill it or whatever. But he like had to break into like a museum to steal it or something like that, because there's like news reports in the book about like this, you know, this antique thing,
priceless artifact.
Yeah, because there's like one line in the movie that talks about where I think it's the Yakuza boss. He's like, "Are you still on with all that museum stuff?" And he just shows up in all that gear.
Oh,
yeah, because he does say, he does give a little bit of context, like when he shows up at the end with the sword, he does say like, yes, this sword used to belong to so and so, who was a traveling samurai who had cut down 300 men or something like that.
Yeah, he does say that. Yeah. So maybe they were trying to make it a little, or maybe it was too much to go into the myth there, because it's like actual like Japanese like folklore and stuff. So even that's one thing too that I wonder if they had just, maybe he did reference the Japan, like in Japanese, maybe he did reference that in the movie, but then for the English translation they were like, English audiences don't know that reference, because so we're just gonna say that it killed a bunch of people or whatever.
Yeah.
Going in, I knew it was comedy horror, but I was surprised about how much of it was comedy versus how little did seem to be horror. Kind of like you guys were talking about, how you kind of want more with like ghostly activities. Like I think the most we really see is like the ceiling flexing, and then at the end there's stuff going on. But other than that, it's mostly just him being a dick.
yeah, that is, it's like 10% horror. It's very, very low. I think it just does that like the Japanese way, it seems like. I feel like that's just their thing, is like very subtle horror, where like the ghost will, and it like does the shot on it, like you'll see some like bottles or something get knocked over, and then he'll look at it, but then there's no like, it was the ghost, and there's no like creepy music, and it doesn't linger on it. It's just like things happen, and then he's like, oh,
time to go be racist.
Anyways, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That I was laughing at the end. I was like, wow, multiculturalism really saved the day here, huh?
Mm-hmm. There was a bit of like, it felt like that sort of very basic kind of understanding or solution or whatever of like racism, where it's like, no, they helped me, they saved me, so I know that they're good now, but they had to like do something for me.
They're like, their default state is bad until they can do something positive for me.
Yeah.
Although I will say it was funny when they went to find the guy who's a witch doctor and they just start talking in English.
Yeah, this is
I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, I did not think there was going to be like, yeah.
That's another thing that made me wonder is like, am I watching the wrong version?
Oh.
But no, I guess, yeah.
No, I think that guy, I mean, he sounded American when he talked in English, so maybe they were just, you know. Because he does talk in Japanese later, but so maybe they started with talking in English, so that, again, the audience would be like, oh, he's also not from Japan, so.
Yeah, because I think it does start in Japanese, where they're talking about like how work is going for him, and then he switches to English, and they're kind of going back and forth. But yeah, it still threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that near the end when he's like possessed, they're all doing separate prayers from it's just like everyone's like, just do what you know, as long as your intent is good, it doesn't matter. So like the witch doctor guy, I couldn't tell if that was like, I was like, is this like a real chant, or did they just tell him to do something? Because I feel like his version of like the prayer was just going humana 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 humana. I was like, I don't know about that one.
Although I will say it was like pretty hardcore how he gets hit in the face with a chainsaw when Ida is possessed and just trying to destroy everything, and it doesn't even phase him, and then he ends up using his own blood to like put the symbols on him to try and like push away the possession. Which made me think, is like, what was his plan if he didn't have blood on hand? Like, quick, someone get me a marker.
Right. Or they would have done the thing that they do in every movie. They just like take a blade and cut their hand, and then they do it.
Yeah. No, honestly, like I keep wanting to like go back to the book, because like it was like, that's what when I'm thinking of like story and stuff, I keep going to that because it's not pixelated to shit, and like I could tell everything that was going on, and you know. It does end with them because in that one the entire building gets destroyed. It ends with them all playing like mahjong at the witch doctor's house or whatever. Like they're all staying with him now.
I did like when this one was kind of closing out, and it just shows them using the excavator that was going to be used to knock down the building as a clothesline.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in like that last shot where it's like pulling back or whatever, right? Yeah, that was good. I did like the music. It's a very like poppy, like not quite city pop, but I don't know. Very
it has like a loungy sound to it.
Yeah, kind of loungy.
Because the beginning of the movie, it almost looks like the like Las Vegas Strip, and it's highlighting. I mean, again, if you want to look at like a theme of the movie, it's highlighting a lot of different people, like multicultural people. And when you suggested this movie and you said that it was called World Apartment Horror, I thought that was like a translation thing, like what it means in Japanese is probably cooler, but in a for like an American audience, they just what's it called, World Apartment Horror, sure, because it's like podcasts that have the word podcast in the name. Like this is if we were like, this is the ThereWillBeDuds podcast, like it's already implied, But then you learn that it's called they're like, what are we, some kind of world apartment?
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, that's why it's called that. It's because there's like a guy from Pakistan, there's Korean guys, there's like a Chinese guy. The world apartment.
Someone from the Philippines.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that too. Well, I thought, I was like surprised the same way. Like I was totally not expecting the title to be laid out in that way.
See, that title made me think it was going to be like another like anthology thing where it's like a series of different shorts.
Oh yeah.
I mean, can't see shit, but I was pleasantly surprised with this movie.
Nice.
Yeah. You could see some pixelated boobies too if you wanted to. That's how you know something's under the radar, is if it's on YouTube and there's like nudity in it.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I thought the same thing. That yeah, it's either that or it's a breastfeeding tutorial.
Yeah, there's
educational.
But even then, I thought it was funny because it's like he's like doing all this shit with the door wide open. Trying to get them to leave. So it's like you hear her moaning and you're like, oh God. And then it's just like, they're just doing it right in the room and the door's open and she's like, they can see us. And he's like, oh, I know. And then he looks up at him and he's like, after I get done screwing her, I'm going to screw all of you. And I was like, yeah.
It'd be funny if they like, they also like didn't get that, like that was like mistranslated. So they didn't get the like the double meaning. So they were just like, uh-oh, he's going to fuck us. Like, I mean, this guy, I like this guy a lot, but I mean,
he's cool and everything, but I don't know.
I didn't know he liked us that much. It's funny, like, that you mentioned, like, the room and stuff, that, like, how, and maybe it would be different if it wasn't for the language barrier and they did, understand what was going on completely or whatever. But, like, how casual it all is. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm supposed to be an enforcer. I got to threaten all these people to leave. I'm with the Yakuza. I'm a gangster and whatever. So I'm just going to, like, yell at them a few times. And then I'm just going to, hang out in my apartment down the hall from all of them. And just,
and play mahjong with them. Oh, that's another thing we completely forgot to mention. The first time he says he's Yakuza, they think it's his name. It's like, oh, Yakuza.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Yakuza, yeah.
The spider web caught someone.
Sweet. Makes sense that he would be disappointed in this because it just not having the means to depict that or whatever.
It's like you can tell that he's like influenced by anime though. I think in the way that like a lot of the characters kind of traverse and like move around, like it's very like pronounced movements. I feel like at least the main guy for sure, as he's like running around and scrambling to do things. Like it's very like highly stylized. Like you can almost like distill frames. Like the scene that I'm looking at right now is like him watching the TV and like they're doing the news broadcast about the museum, which I didn't even like connect the two at the end when he shows up with the sword and like the outfit, and it's like I thought he was just like, he's like, oh, haha, cool. The Yakuza's doing stuff. I'm part of the Yakuza. We're awesome.
Yeah.
But it's like he's laying there and he's like laying on his side like this and his one knee is like sticking up and he's like smoking a cigarette. And it's just like, it's like, the Barry Lyndon where it looks like these classical paintings, you know? I'm like, oh, this looks like a cell from like an anime, like the way that it's like framed and like the way that the characters kind of position themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Cell's from Dragon Ball Z, and I don't think he ever smoked.
That's true. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
He totally could have, because he would have just, healed like instantly. Never had to worry about it.
They put disclaimers on DBZ episodes telling kids not to smoke.
Yeah, perfect. Cell has a Marvel jacket.
It's a good point. Characters have got to smoke in that show. I'd actually be surprised if they don't, because because they don't really care about other stuff. Like there's definitely drinking. There's definitely people shooting children with guns. Children that are
sure there's
vulnerable.
Side characters that do.
That survive. Yeah, at least that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely not the main ones. I can't even imagine, like, Vegeta smoking. That would be weird. Yeah, but again, the whole thing, like, about it being live action instead of, like, when you think of it being this story that feels so much like an anime. Like you said, like the characters, which I would agree, like feel like anime characters, or and then again the dreamlike stuff that was in the book that they weren't able to do. Also, you know, the guy who did Akira. I don't know. I wonder if maybe he was just like, I spent so much fucking time on that movie. I want to try something else. So I wonder if that was like his thing, where he's just like, I don't feel like doing another anime right now, because that one took a lot out of me. Because other than that, it's like they're all primarily animation people, but decided not to for this one. It's very curious.
Yeah, this is a very niche thing, and like you were talking about earlier, Nick, I would like to see an actual release of this where it looks like a movie is supposed to look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Because this is like perfect, like B-movie material just to throw on and watch with your friends and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's weird to recommend to someone. It's like, oh, you should definitely go watch this. It'll change your life. But it's like, oh, we're going to hang out and watch this and have a good time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if, it was probably much easier to do this as opposed to like animation. So I wonder if that's like, let's just do something easy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you said, I do wish that it had been able to go a little bit harder with the ghost stuff, but I feel like you could have done more of the haunting stuff without having, you know, these big crazy like dream stuff. You know, that's whatever, can't do that, but you could still do something a little more with the ghost stuff. But
yeah, I mean, again, I have it pulled up, so I just saw this scene, but like, there's the scene where like the ceiling in his room is like bulging and like making sounds and doing weird shit. And there's a cool scene where he like kind of pops in through the drop ceiling, and it's like bathed in like red and purple, and he lights his lighter, and that's like the only little source of light. And he's like looking around, and it's like just little stuff like that. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, these insane fantastical monsters and shit. Like, yeah, I don't know. You can create an atmosphere of horror with just, you know, stuff bumping, stuff moving around, play with like shadows. I mean, you know, just put a ghostly figure in the corner of a room in the dark, and like that, you know, there's your first ghost sighting, you know, and then ramp it up, and then it leads to that wall, and then, you know, that's when it starts to go crazy.
Mm-hmm. It also made me think of the wall. I mean, I was thinking of like the red dragon, and it's funny because like in the book, like the inside cover or whatever is, I don't know if it's supposed to be him or if it's supposed to be the one before who comes back at the end, but he has like the image on the wall, like tattooed, like covering his, like completely his back, which is what Francis Dollarhide does with the red dragon. Tattoos it all over his back. I just thought that was kind of funny because I had like watching the movie, I don't know why, it was just like the imagery of it. It's kind of like the dragon, or like kind of how they like envision dragons. I was like, it's driving him insane. And
yeah. His great becoming.
Yeah. I don't know. We got anything else for this one?
I don't have a ton. I didn't take a ton of notes. It is a pretty simple, like kind of I don't know if by the books is the right way to say it, because it is kind of a unique story, but there's not a lot of like subtext to like dig into, really.
Yeah. No, not really. Not at all. Maybe immigrants are okay. Some subtext.
If they can banish a demon.
Yeah, if they can help you out first, then they're okay.
But if they can't help you, they're dirty and they need to go back to where they came from.
Yeah.
Oh God, he kept calling them Asians, and they're like, isn't aren't you an Asian too? And he's like, no, I'm Caucasian. And it's like, I don't think that's like,
weird.
I don't. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That was so weird. I could see, like, if he'd have just said, like, I'm Japanese, I think I get where they're... It's a weird, like, nationalistic thing, right? Where they're just trying to differentiate themselves.
Yeah.
But I could see them being like, well, no, because we're not, we're an island. We're not part of Asia.
Yeah.
That's the landmass of Asia. But yeah, the Caucasian thing, I'm like, okay, this is weird. I don't know what you're saying here.
You're losing me.
What you're going with, yeah. Yeah, I feel like these characters would have been fans of, what's his nuts, Mishima. Because he's like ultra like nationalistic too.
You want to go first? I guess you brought it in.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So I think I'll go with a 6. I think. Honestly, my viewing experience was a little lower, like a 5, maybe a 4, but I'm going to give the movie the benefit of the doubt because a lot of that was just the really shitty video quality. I'm like, if I need to, so I'm giving, I'm not blaming that on the movie, so I'm going to go with a 6. That it's just this fun little oddity of the time. That it would be, and it would be really nice to see a decent version. I'm just 720 at least. Come on, we don't even have to go full HD. We just need something decent here so that we know what's happening. And yeah, I always appreciate when characters go like live action actors go full anime in their performances. It makes a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, 6. A polite 6. I don't know.
Okay, I can go next. I think I'm right there with you. I think I'm at a 6 too. The video quality didn't bug me as much. It was just those key scenes where I think spooky, ominous shit was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Where it kind of distracted from it because I, again, could not differentiate anything in the picture because it was blocky and pixelated. But other than that, yeah, there's not a lot of subtext here, but it is a very entertaining, silly movie with just a lot of I don't know, I guess slapstick, you could say. There's some elements of slapstick, but it's just very goofy and funny and charming, where again, the lead character is kind of a shitty racist, but it's not you don't hate him. You're oh, okay, he's just a dickhead. And everyone kind of treats him the same way, he's all bark and no bite. None of the people that live in the apartment complex are threatened by him whatsoever. And it's eventually he's won over by them, where at the end, when they're all trying to collaborate at the end to fight off, is that his brother that comes back with the sword?
No, I think it's just it's a Yakuza brother. Okay, I don't think it was actually his brother.
Okay, because I thought his brother who was there at the beginning comes back. I thought that was him.
No, that is him. But
that
I thought
is him. I thought they're calling him brother,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
As a term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was also
a
confused
capo or a a gangster term. I understand.
Yeah,
that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very entertained by his arc of being this terrible racist shithead, and then he sort of befriends them and then relies on them, and then they save the day at the end. It's just very silly. So yeah, 6 could move up. Shout Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, whoever, get your hands on this and make a nice scan of it. I'd like to see it again.
Yeah.
Well, there must be a devil in my wall, because I'm going to complete the sweep with a 6.
I was hoping that would happen.
No, I agree with TJ. Where viewing experience probably sitting around a 5, but the movie itself is so silly it wins you over. It's a lot of fun. It reminds me of something my buddy said where he was talking about how his favorite comedy routine to this day is Who's on First by Abbott and Costello, because nothing is funnier than a misunderstanding.
Sure.
And the whole language barrier aspect between them, where he's trying to threaten them and the most they're getting out of it is calling him the wrong name.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would like to see some sort of HD restoration as well. This is a good movie to like throw on and have like throw on to friends, just have fun watching. Very simple. You don't like once you know what happens, you don't have to pay too close attention.
Yeah.
It's a nice enjoyable time way to spend like an hour and a half if you have nothing better to do.
Yeah. And it's a cool artifact of like 3 anime titans doing something completely like out of their own wheelhouse. And usually when shit like that happens, I feel like when someone who's like very known for one thing is like, okay, but I'm going to try doing like a live action movie. Usually it's like to middling results, but this is like a pretty good, attempt at making a movie.
Yeah.
Like some of the cinematography in it is kind of cool. Like
there was some cool
in
shots,
those more like tense, scary moments. There's like some really good like kind of pushes in on characters and like good movement.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to do it like soon. I mean, I don't know if they would ever like have the means to go this hard, but it'd be really cool if they like did do, some like HD remaster thing of it with like, I guess I'm thinking more Criterion where they go the extra mile with like behind the scenes things. But like cuz 2 of them are dead now. Like Katsuhiro Otomo is the only one left, and so you got to do it soon so you can get some cool commentary or just something, some like intro or just it'd be cool to like, because this movie again is so obscure that it's just one of those things. Like I'm interested to see like what does he think about the movie like this many years on, like how do they view it as like the grander part of like his / their like careers like afterwards and stuff.
This feels like their crime wave.
Kind of, yeah. I was kind of thinking crime wave in a way too, yeah. With one of the Coen brothers.
The heel is the main character.
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be such a good like the crime wave sequel, and it's just Bruce Campbell. I guess this is a Halloween movie. Technically, Halloween does happen in it. Have either of you guys seen Practical Magic, the Sandra Bullock, Nicole Kidman movie?
Nope. Never even heard of it.
Apparently, it's having something of a renaissance. I think it's big with like the TikTok girlies.
Okay. Like
the local theater did a screening of it last week and it sold out. And it's I don't get it because we watched it and it's weird. It's very weird. It's like my read was that they were trying to do multiple types of movies and they just kind of crammed it all into one, because like the story is like it's Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, and you kind of see them as young girls, and basically it goes all the way back to like the Salem witch trial times, where it's like they try to hang a witch, but then she uses her witchy powers and escapes, and they all run away. And I think she gets like banished to an island, and she's pregnant, and her husband never comes to her rescue. So she like basically places a curse on like any man who would ever fall in love with like one of the women in their bloodline. So then it's like you kind of get this history of like every daughter and granddaughter and great granddaughter that has been born, whenever like one of them gets married or falls in love, the husband will like tragically die like early. And so it's like they, that's like kind of this thing where like Sandra Bullock's character as a little girl, she's just like, she imagines like, she places like a spell on herself that's like, I'm going to place a spell so I can only fall in love with a guy who has 2 different colored eyes, and he does this and he does all these weird things. And then basically she's just like, I created a man who doesn't exist, so I'll never fall in love, so he'll never die early. And so that's like then it shows them as adults, and like Nicole Kidman's character is more like she's embraced her witchy elements. Like they can do magic. It's not like sort of like this like pagan Wiccan, like, oh, I'm just, spiritual. Like,
it's
there's
actual practical magic.
Right, like stirring their coffee with without touching it, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But then it's like Nicole Kidman's character, she's kind of like I guess floozy is a way to put it. She just like hangs out with random dudes and is just like, I'm gonna move to Florida and there's like hunky dudes everywhere. I'm gonna go where the wind takes me, and she gets in too deep, and then it turns into like a crime, not a procedural, but like this guy dies and then they're being accused of like murdering him, and then a detective shows up, and we're just watching it and we're like, what is happening right now?
Weird.
And then it kind of gets to like, we couldn't tell where the climax was, and I like looked at the runtime and I was like, there's 20 minutes left. How on earth do they wrap this up? I don't know. It definitely had its charming moments. I think Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are like pretty good as the leads. Like it's 1998 Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, so it's really like both of their peak of their careers, I would say. So like they're fun, but I don't get what the like the recent allure of this movie is, because it is like very strange, and some of the song choices are very timely. Like I think This Kiss by Faith Hill shows up at one point in time, and it's just jarring to hear like country music in a witchy like coven type movie,
So in that universe, does SVU stand for Spell Victim Unit?
I think I gave it like 2.5 on Letterboxd. It had its moments, but it was weird. I don't think it really like did a good job at meshing all of those styles together.
Yeah, that's weird. That's not where I thought that was going when you started talking about it.
It gets like serious and intense at like random spots.
Well, that's the practical part.
I guess so.
Yeah, it's practical / magic.
Yeah.
I actually watched quite a bit of stuff this week. But I'll highlight the new one. The new movie just came out. Terrifier 3. Have either of you? Have you seen any of the Terrifier movies? Either of you?
Seen the first one and like the little short film that like birthed Art the Clown, but I haven't seen Terrifier 2, which from what I've heard is like the good one.
Yeah,
but I know nothing about Terrifier 3 yet. Okay.
I think they get better as they go, for sure, because I think this one's my favorite one of the three. Yeah, the first one was like, I don't know. I feel like the first one would have been really like just a throwaway, forgettable one if it wasn't for the special effects. And then I think Art he's great. He's really funny. It's dumb how funny he is.
Have you seen the original short?
No, I want. So there's. Are you talking about the Ninth Circle, or are you talking about?
I think so. It's in Spanish.
Oh, it's in Spanish, really? Oh, well, I guess that makes sense based on the guy's name. Yeah,
it's interesting because there were no English subtitles in the one I was watching, and like, I know
at least
a little
Art
bit of
doesn't speak, so
yeah, it's like I know a little bit of Spanish from high school and then just living in California, but it's like I can pick up words here and there, but because it's a short film and like it's very to the point, you don't really need to know the words to know what's going on. It still does a good job of communicating. But seeing how he looks in that versus seeing how he looks in Terrifier movies is like, this is a design change for the better.
Yeah, no, I know. I have seen pictures of him from. You're talking about the Ninth Circle, right?
Yeah, where it's just like in a church, I think is where it starts.
Okay.
Or like a rest stop or something.
Yeah, so they did switch to a different actor. When they started doing Terrifier. So I don't know. I'll have to see if the old guy was any good. But the guy who does him in the Terrifier movies is great. He's very, I don't know. all he does is pull faces. He's either like sad clown or happy clown. But it's so great how he's able to like take basically those two expressions, but use them to such like great effect. There's also, I think it was before the first Terrifier came out, All Hallows Eve. Have you seen that one or heard of that one?
I don't think I've seen it.
So that's an anthology movie that features the Ninth Circle, as well as a second short with Art the Clown. So I had to subscribe to like Screambox, and that's on there. So I'm gonna watch that before I lose that subscription. But yeah. So anyways, first Terrifier is like whatever, because there is zero story. There's no story in that first Terrifier movie. There's like nothing. It's literally just these two girls go to a restaurant, and Art the Clown is there, and then he follows them and kills them.
Spoilers.
And yeah, the second and third ones, they have main characters, you know, like the third one continues the story from the second one. And the second one, it gets really fun with like, just, you know, dream sequences, that kind of stuff. But I do think I still like the third one the most. I think Art is probably the funniest in this one. Again, it's more of the same, but God, it's the same, and it feels like the same kind of like humor as like watching some old like silent comedy.
I was thinking of like Buster Keaton and like Charlie Chaplin, where it's like the expressions. It's like, how many times are they going to get you to laugh with the same bit?
Yeah.
And then it's like, but it works every single time.
Yeah. No, like 100%. It's that, but he's also like, like slicing somebody's head open and then ripping their skin down around their skull. Like, what is that called? Like degloving, but doing it to somebody's head.
Was it you that was telling me about one of the kills, or like there's a bit where it's like, again, it's played for laughs, but like he has someone's arm that's like broken, and he's just like grabbing on it to like try to.
Yeah, no, that's probably so.
It's like just like like he's got a branch that he's trying to snap off a tree.
Yeah, that's a good good comparison. Yeah, no, so the first two have like. They both have, like, the kill. Like, the first one, Chris probably knows, even if you've seen it once. I'm guessing you can think of, like, what I'm talking about, like, the big kill. Maybe not. Maybe it's been a while.
It has been a while.
I mean, I do plan on watching these, but you can tell me. Like, I'm not going to... I don't care.
He cut somebody in half, like, down the middle.
Wait, does he wishbone them, or is it from the top to bottom?
I'm pretty sure he wishbones them, yeah.
Okay. Then... Yeah.
So hits him with the old bone tomahawk.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh.
And then the second one is like that one's fucking crazy, the one in the second one, because it goes on, I want to say it's like 7 minutes long. Is him just like and it's so ridiculous because this person should have been dead within the first like 30 seconds. Like he skins them, he's like wrenching their limbs off their body, and they're still like alive.
They still like just screaming the entire time, probably.
Yeah, I think she's like she's kind of like but you know, she's still alive. And then the third one amps it up in different ways. I wouldn't say there's one big kill, but I think it is just generally, there's not like one major like, oh man, there's that scene where he cuts somebody in half, or there's a scene where he like flays the girl or whatever, but there's like more, it's more consistently like crazy stuff. So there's not like, it doesn't it doesn't hit the high, but it's like a better like average, I guess, of like gore.
I've seen people online talk about the shower scene in Terrifier 3.
That would be the big one. Yeah, there's like two kids going at it in the shower, and he comes at him with a chainsaw. and he
just recreates the scene from Scarface.
I was thinking of that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah, it's you see him you see him like with a thing, with a tool or a weapon, and it's like that he's going to like do everything that you can do with that thing. So yeah, a lot of like slashes across like the face or like stomach or like up the back like with the chainsaw and stuff.
But if there's one thing we learned, you can use that slash across the face to like put symbols on someone when you're trying to stop them from being possessed.
Yeah.
Ward off some demons, maybe.
There's a lot of fair criticism. They are just vehicles for gore and just silliness. So I would say like, don't take them seriously, and that's the way to view them. So I think they're a lot of fun, but they seem to like. They definitely like upset a lot of people, which is fair. In the new one, there's some kid death too, which it's not shown. And like it's not like you don't see him like torture and slowly kill any kids, but you do see like the aftermath. And I guess that in particular like has upset a lot of people. But I don't care. So yeah. Fun stuff. I'd recommend it. It's the number one movie this weekend too, which probably wouldn't have happened if Joker didn't fall off so much. But it's pretty cool, like from that standpoint too, because the first movie, I was just looking this up the other day. The first movie was on a budget of like $30,000. The second one was $250,000, and this one was $2 million. And this one made like $13 million over the weekend. So that's like great. Like budget to profit wise, that's great. And I think those other ones, per their like smaller budgets, also did like really well. I know the second one did really well, and that's why this one got like such a wide release.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one has been the first one, it seems like I've seen any sort of like marketing or talk about, but it's like if you watch a lot of horror stuff and like, again, Terrifier 2 is the big one, and it's been on my watch list forever, but it's like, it's so cool. But it's so cool to see something that starts out so small, where it's like, now, like, it was originally just this guy in a short film for, like, a little anthology thing, and now it's like, they're on their third movie, and they're number one at the box office. Granted, that's because the competition isn't so stiff right about now, but still.
One of my coworkers came in and was like, I saw Terrifier 3 this weekend. And I was like, yeah. Because like that's the meme, right? There's like coworker music. There's coworker movies where it's just like, and then it's like if you don't have a coworker who talks about that, you are the coworker. But I was not expecting anyone in my office to have seen Terrifier 3. So I was like, okay. This is kind of like broken into the mainstream. It was like at my old job, I walked by one of my coworkers and he was watching like Stavros stand-up clips, and I was like, that's weird. Yeah, because I know Stav as like the Cumtown guy, and you're like watching clips, and it was like when something like that you think is like kind of niche and specific to your interests like breaks into the mainstream. It's cool though. It's cool that like Terrifier is like, and it's funny that Joker 2 ate shit so bad had like a huge budget. I feel like, wasn't it over like 100 million or something like that? I feel like
probably. Yeah.
It was a lot, and it did not make it. I don't think it made it back, and I don't think it's going to.
No.
And then it's awesome that something like Terrifier 3, which has like, practical effects, which I feel like that's kind of making a comeback now. I think people are maybe like
he actually killed those people with chainsaws. Like,
yeah, it's a real snuff film. I don't know. I think people crave that authenticity now. I don't know if it's like if it's like just like the sort of like Marvel slump, or just like everyone's just kind of like CGI stuff. I think people are maybe like have some fatigue from that. So it's like it's refreshing to see like, they got like like sheep intestine that they used to fill hot dogs with, and they're using that to pull him out of this girl after he cut her stomach open. And it's like it's gross, but it's like watching the original Dawn of the Dead, and like that one scene where the guy gets like dragged by the zombies and they pull his stomach out.
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
It's like fake blood, and it's like probably clay or whatever they use, but it's like it's cool because it's like an actual thing. So it's nice. It's nice to see that.
Yeah, the director Damien Leone, he is like a visual effects artist too. So like he does it all himself. So, and you know that like he knows that he's good at it. Because like again, that is like the showcase. So it is like a smorgasbord of like great practical effects work. And yeah, just be aware they are extremely violent, I guess.
I mean, it's one of those things, like practical effects, if done well, hold up way better than CGI that's done well. Mm-hmm. Because even
for sure.
The Thing was what, 1982?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And like you can still go back and watch it. Like, man, it's so good.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
I don't know, just practical effects just has a place in my heart for stuff like that, where it's like they take the time to do it right, and you can watch it all those years later, and it still looks good. Whereas like you see CGI that was like, because I watched The Matrix like a month or two ago, and it's like, oh, this CGI was cutting edge in 1999. You watch it now, it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of budget, and it just looks like absolute garbage now.
Yeah, most like when they're in the real world, I'm okay with it more, like the CG look in The Matrix more because it's The Matrix.
For that, it makes sense, but yeah.
I get what you're saying though. They're like definitely like when they're in the real world and there's like the Sentinels, like those shouldn't look, computery and fake. Those should look real. So like that stuff is like a little wonky, but yeah.
Yeah. But even then, it was like the Matrix was doing some like innovative stuff too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
The way that they did. Have you ever seen the behind the scenes of how they did the slow-mo, like that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
They had like a wall, a circular, like almost like a circular enclosure of like DSLR cameras all moving. So it was like every camera was running, so they could basically from any conceivable angle like pull the video. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's probably like a Premiere plugin that can get you the same effect.
Yeah.
We watched Over the Garden Wall again. It's become a yearly tradition. Still awesome. Still great. It was a perfect viewing experience because it was like raining outside. And we had our slider door open and we had like all the candles lit in the living room. And we watched the whole thing in one sitting. It was perfect.
More on that.
Best way to watch.
Check out our episode on Over the Garden Wall. It's episode number something. I guess I'll shout out a couple other just quick fire ones that were like not outstanding, but that I liked. Frogman, which I think was from this. Actually, I think all these are from this year. Like Terrifier, obviously. Frogman, like a found footage about like investigating this. I thought it was made up for the movie, but it's an actual like folklore cryptid frogman in Ohio. They go to like try to find it to prove that it exists, and it's like very tropey cliche found footage for the most part. But when you get to like the stuff at the end, I really appreciated how crazy it gets and how just all in on the mythology it gets. I'm used to movies being like, oh, here's this thing that's like silly, but then like it's real, and then when you see it in the movie, it's like they like change it or alter it to make it look more like movie-like or to make it scarier or make it more like realistic. But this, it's like, no, it's Frogman. And yeah, there's some weird shit tied to his mythology, and yeah, it's all real. So it's fun. It's super short too. I think it was like 80 minutes. So was fun. That was a lot of fun. And then the other one is a by YouTubers. I think their channel is like This Is a Bad Idea or something like that. You might recognize the guys if you look up. I think A Bad Idea. I'm just gonna look up the movie, but they have the movie on their YouTube. It's called Milk and Cereal. Cereal like serial killer. And also found footage, I guess. That's a Bad Idea is the name of the channel. And they usually do like comedy shorts. That's what they mostly are like known for. But that one's like found footage about these YouTubers who run like a prank channel, and it's like one of their birthdays, and like one of the guys sets up at the beginning that it's like, oh, we're gonna like fake somebody's death, like somebody's gonna bring in a gun and shoot one of our friends, and it's like, but it's, you know, it's squib and it's blanks and stuff, and it's funny, haha, it's a joke because it's a prank channel, and it's like they go really extreme with their pranks to freak each other out. And then like they do that, and then like there's more stuff that develops from it, but it's like there's a lot of like, is this a prank? No, it's not. And it's just kind of fun because it's like there's like 4 twists in the first like 30 minutes or something where it's like you think this is what's happening, but this is actually what's happening, and it's all like under that pretense of like these guys do a prank channel, and like, you know, they do a prank channel, and yet it's still like kind of like unraveling like what is part of this and what isn't, like what's real and what is just part of the prank. It's pretty fun, like how it explores that. And
at the end you're just like, what is a prank?
Yeah. But also it's only an hour long, and another cool like thing, because it only well, it's at 1 million views. I think they made it for like $400, I heard.
That's awesome.
So another cool, like, hey, low budget horror movie getting some traction. It's cool.
Yeah, the other thing I can think of is Talk to Me from last year. That was like another, it was like one. But they were like YouTube. They started out as YouTubers. I don't know if, I think they did horror shorts on their channel too. But it was like, that's cool that like this has become a medium now for people to like make shit, like cinematic shit.
Mm-hmm. He's like completely folded over.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You're gonna have to change his name to Gumby.
Oh, he's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Real quick, there's an Australian horror movie I think I've recommended to you guys before. It's called The Tunnel, and it's on Tubi.
Maybe
it's kind of a mix between found footage and like mockumentary.
Okay. I'll add that to my watch list on Letterboxd. That's what I do, so I actually remember to remember. Wanna move to?
Yeah. I guess I can announce this one because I think this is my dud recommendation.
Yeah.
We're gonna close it out with another double feature. So we are finally actually for real this time, leaving the land of Japan. And we're doing another double feature. So we are doing from, oh God, what year is this movie?
80s.
83? From 1983, we are doing Sleepaway Camp. And then we are doing the fourth installment, Return to Sleepaway Camp from 2008, which I don't know if there's any more after that one. That might be there's Sleepaway Camp 4 The Survivor from 2012, but I don't think
but this was the fourth one.
It was canned during production in 1992. And then the film was completed using archive footage from the first 3.
Oh, weird.
So in my mind, that doesn't count. So
that's
we're doing
like a Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 situation.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like that. So yeah. That's cool too. So Sleepaway Camp from 1983 and Return to Sleepaway Camp are both directed by Robert Hiltzik, who was like the original writer and director.
Okay, cool.
So it's the same guy. So and I think one of the characters, the main character, comes back or reprises her role. Spoilers.
Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, no, she's in Return. Angela. Yeah.
Yes, the actress.
No, there's
who
a
plays
couple.
Angela.
There's a couple because I remember that at least like the one counselor guy is in it too. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Sleepaway Camp, it should be. Yeah, it's on Tubi for free. That's how you know it's good when you Google Sleepaway Camp and the little Google sidebar where to watch. Tubi free, Peacock free, Pluto TV free, Sling TV free, the Roku channel free, Crackle free, Redbox free, Plex free, Fubo TV subscription. Don't get like, why would you read 8 different free alternatives and then be like, I gotta watch this on Fubo TV and pay money for it?
Yeah.
I actually ordered the Shout Factory Blu-ray of this because they were doing like their Halloween sale, so I picked it up for like $8. So I'm gonna watch this on glorious like like a 4K scan of this stupid movie
and see if you overpaid.
Yeah, I've seen it before, but it's been a long time. Same with Return to Sleepaway Camp. Like I feel like we watched Return to Sleepaway Camp a lot, like back in the day.
Yeah, we did.
Which, like, it came out in 2008, so that was, like, the perfect time for it.
Is it just the first one you got on DVD, or is it, like, the whole set?
It's just the first one.
Oh, okay. If you don't want to be spoiled for those movies, watch them before next week's episode. These episodes come out Wednesdays at 7 p.m. EST on YouTube in video form, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more in audio form. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I feel like I said that out of order. Feels weird to me. I don't know. But that's it, I think. And with all that said, I am Caucasian. And I'm TJ, and with me as always.
After I get done screwing her, I'm going to screw all of you. And I am Nick, and with us for the month of October,
the guy who's going to go break in a museum to get a sword to kill a demon. I am Chris.
Hell yeah.